Yesterday we have discussed about identity and access management, that is IAM in AWS. The core AWS service, it is the core AWS service that helps us to control access to the resources. Resources in the sense there are so many resources like S3 buckets, Lambda functions, DynamoDB, and also EC2. Okay, there are so many services, but we are going to use in our uh, data engineering some of the services. So those are called the resources. Resources are the entities we can create in AWS. Okay, and users attempt to perform some actions on these resources. So like creating bucket, okay, yeah, and creating Lambda functions. Okay, so these are the actions, and the authorization is to perform an action depends on the policy. See, the policies are like when we see here, let's see that here the policies are looking like this. These are the set of permissions to be granted or denied. So basically, those will be displayed in a GUI format as well as in a JSON format. If we wanted to modify manually, we can also modify with this within this JSON file. Okay, and these are the JSON documents. These can be assigned directly to the IAM users. Okay, so this AWS identity and access management applies a fine-grained permissions to AWS services and resources. So that is the main purpose of this IAM, identity access management. Okay, identity and access management. Now, and these are the different IAM, resources based on some permissions like S3 buckets, SNS topics, Glacier vaults, SQS queues, and key management services, KMS. Okay, so these are the permissions, and these are the resource based permissions. See here, he can read, write, list, and he can read only and list only, and he can list only, she can list only. Here he can read, write, and list, etc. These are the different permissions. Okay, and these are the permissions provided by AWS. Like here, users creating the function is a permission is needed on this Lambda function, and by default we have a denied permission. So once we apply this permission, this can be displayed like this. This is a SID is the create a function, effect is a allow, and action is create a function, and resource, this resource belongs to this Lambda function is a resource here. Okay, and basically these can be accessed, this IAM service can be accessed in three ways. One is through this console to login by entering our username and password. The other one is by using command line interface, that is AWS command line interface. And the third one is we can also access this AWS through this software development kit through that programming language in Java or in Python. So basically we are going to learn Python. So I think see, all of you are familiar with Python, or shall I uh, give you a brief overview? Carlos, Alex, Nishant, Deep, see, as
So
I
we
told
have
you, please.
that as a language, as a Python, basics we know, not on analytics on this AWS purpose with specific libraries. We don't know.
Okay, and Alex.
I mean, from the Python side, I don't have any, programming knowledge in Python, but I know what Python and what it does.
Do you know the basic concepts, like core concepts of what are the data types and what are the functions and classes, the basics? how to
Uh,
import the
no,
libraries?
not no, not on Python side. I don't know anything
Oh, fine.
on the Python
And
side.
Deep, what about you?
Yeah, I have very basic knowledge. So, I mean, like other programming languages, how we can use Python and all, but not like any deep knowledge of Python.
See, it is very simple and easy to learn. Why? Because we don't need to follow some strictly typed language kind of thing. It's a general purpose and easy to learn. If we want, I will cover in 1 or 2 sessions about the basics of Python language and how to define functions, and basically we are going to use some lists and dictionaries mainly in our in our data engineering tasks, and the proper available libraries also we are going to use to access that databases RDS, as well as to access this controlling this AWS IAM kind of how to access with the keys and private keys and public keys. So these are the parameters that we are going to pass through through this code, Python code, as well as to connect with our RDS databases like MySQL or Oracle or MS SQL. So we are going to use some JDBC connectivity. So that also through Python we can do it. So that I will cover, and mostly you people need to know SQL also. SQL. How many of you know about this SQL language? Structured query language in databases.
I mean,
Alex,
uh, from my side, I have I don't have a deep knowledge, but I know the basics. How to create a database, create tables, drop them. Those kind of things, or how to pull that data from a table or something like that.
and about Nishant, about you.
Only those basics are like joins and retrieving the
Yeah,
data.
queries.
That's
Yeah,
all.
and Deep and Kishore, can you please tell me about like do you have any knowledge on SQL language?
On SQL, so I mean, knowledge would,
Do you have the knowledge?
yes, yes. EDL, DML,
Okay, good.
the
And
things.
Deep.
Yeah, this is Deep who was speaking.
Oh, okay. And see, if you want, I'll take that in 1 or 2 sessions at that at least the brief overview about how to write queries by using select statements, and how to write joins using some one of the RDS databases like MySQL, so that mostly we are going to use the SQL language mostly in our day-to-day activities as a data engineer, and also those nowadays those SQL commands also applied by using Python language, that is through Spark. Okay, that is called PySpark. There we are using the same kind of SQL commands only, but in a different way. Some kind of functions we are going to use them. Okay, that we will cover mostly. Okay, because before going to design any pipeline or taking some extracting some data, we need to understand the basics about these two things. Like one is the SQL, the other one is Python. Okay, and this is the one example for creating function, giving the creating function permission on this lambda resource. Okay, and this is how we are going to access through this console. We are going to access these web services, and then there are access in the access management. So here we have access control, username and password, multi-factor authentication, federated access. So depends on the requirement. Basically these controlling and the security will be provided by DevOps developers. You need not to worry about that. So based on our requirement, they will provide all the access permissions. Okay, just you need to understand. And for our purpose, especially to create buckets and to access that RDS databases, or to access our uh, ETL tools and data warehouse tools like Kinesis and then Glue and then Redshift. So we need to have the knowledge about the permissions. Okay, and then here coming to the IAM components. So basically this is used to manage control security permits. It contains users, groups and roles and the policy permissions. Okay, this is how the access control mechanism works in AWS IAM. Okay, groups are nothing but a set of users belongs to different domains. Like there are as I told you yesterday, like developers, a set of users belongs to one group, or admins, those are belongs to one group, like that. And the roles, once we apply these roles on these groups, that automatically inherits to these users. Okay, that we will see practically in our session. And then here IAM is a global service. So that means we if we have the permissions, we can access not only a single region uh, data center, so we can also access the other regions also. Okay, so that's a global service that you need to remember. And IAM is the first service a user will interact with when using AWS. So this is the first service. And then the IAM's responsibilities. It is critical to understand IAM and how to implement its features are here. How secure your access control procedures must be, and how much should you restrict users to access. How complex a password policy must be. Should use multi-factor access or not. So these are all the IAM responsibilities. Okay, let us come to the demo of one of so I assume that you all have the account in AWS console. Can you please confirm once? Deep and Kishore, do you have the accounts in AWS?
Yeah, I have the account. Deep.
Good. Kishore, if you don't have it, you can create one account by providing your debit card or credit card details, because they are going to charge. But we have a free account for 1 year, so we need to keenly observe your mails whenever you are accessing more than the capacity restricted by them. So that automatically comes to the billing, and then you need to monitor that. Okay, now AWS console. I'm just typing here. Then here, this is the AWS management console. Here, sign into the console, and basically there are two logins here. One is root user, the other one is IAM user. And basically all our actions will be performed through the IAM users only. This is a root user is a very highly having all the permissions. So with this we cannot use that all the services and the resources. Okay, but for our practice purpose we can use it. So I have an account created, and I'm logging into that. So this is the first uh, screen, the window you are going to see. The recently visited resources will be displayed here. This is the console home, and then if you wanted to see all the services here, there is in left hand side services icon is there. Okay, click on that, and these are all different kinds of compute, containers, database, developer tools. See, it has around 200 plus tools but we are not going to use all of those. We are going to use only our data engineering task tools only. So this IAM is there in this security and identity and compliance. So here there are other security resources available, but here we have an IAM. So click on this IAM. So first of all, we have to log on to this AWS console, and we need to give the username and password. So this is the IAM. Now, if we wanted to create, so here in the left hand side, we have the access management that contains user groups, users, roles, policies, identity providers, and account settings. Okay. Now, uh, here we will select this users. Here we don't have any user. We can create a user by using this create user button. So here we can give the username, that is some kind of a demo user or user one. It is user one, and these are the here in this below section you will see that the rules of this valid user names. The username can have up to 64 characters. Valid characters are A to Z, capital letters, and lowercase letters A to Z, and 0 to 9, and plus these are the other special characters which are allowed. So apart from this, that doesn't allow any other characters. So then click on that and next. And here we can also click on this provide user access the AWS management console. This is an optional, so we need not to select it. And here we don't have any user groups here. That is groups here. You can create if you want. Okay. Hmm. And here permission summary, then create user. Just we are getting the normal user, and user is successfully created. See, when you click on this, settings will be available in this preferences. Okay, and you need to remember one thing here. We are accessing this global region, and you can provide before creating that user. We can select whatever the region it belongs to. So you can select Europe or US East 1 to, these are all the different regions. Okay. Then here user groups, we'll create one group here. And if you don't if you have already some groups here, we can search them, but here we don't have any groups. Create group, and the group name, here you can use some uh, groups like group 1. Here there are some permissions, that those are the policies that you can apply all the, suppose if you wanted to have a S3 bucket S3 bucket service here. So S3 backup service, backup service role policy for S3 backup. Okay, and then if you type only lambda function here, we have a lambda full access, AWS lambda full access. You can select it, and then S3, uh, here Amazon S3 full access. So we are providing two, and also we can select RDS also. Here Amazon RDS full access. So you know what is RDS? That is relational data services, like MySQL, Oracle, all those are the RDS. And create group, here there is button called create group. Now we have created, by default these are permissions are here. Here we can see, if you wanted to check here, click on that, and here permissions will be displayed. These are the three permissions what we have provided: RDS full access, S3 full access, and Lambda full access. Okay, and if you want to add some more permissions, we can also add here. Okay, also you can edit them, the group, that group name. Okay, now we will attach that user to this group. Okay, here these users are there, and then here add users are there. Here in this users group, add users. So here we have user one. Click on this and then add users. So once we add that user under this group, whatever the policies we have applied, we have created for this user, that user group, that will be inherited to that user one. Okay, that you need to remember. Like that, you can also provide EC2 instance creation permissions. Okay, so this is how we can create the users. Then here, these are the different security credentials. Enable console access. Okay, by default it is disabled. You can also provide, enable. Or custom password, you can select custom password. You can provide the password here. For example, I'm giving some kind of user 1234. You can show that password here. Apply. Okay, password policy must include at least three of the following mix of this. There are some uppercase. Okay, or at 1234. I'm providing this. Apply. Okay, so this is the console password, user at 1234. I'll note it down. We will discuss about how to access these resources through command line interface also. User 1234. Okay, then close it, and here we can download the CSV file, .csv file. Here we will get those user one credentials CSV file. Okay, these are the, that is how username, password, and console sign-in URL will be provided in this CSV file that we can use in our SDK or console. Okay, close. And also we can assign MFA device, but we don't need all this stuff. and create access key here for command line interface or local code or application running on AWS compute service, third party service, application running outside AWS. So just we are going to create only command line CLI. So these can be used to access to enable that AWS CLI. So just I'm understood. Next, a tag value here describe the purpose of this access key. AWS CLI. Let's go. Is optional basically. Okay, we can ignore it. We can ignore this. Okay, create access key. Here you can download this file also, and here we can see that access key is some kind of alpha numeric. Download this file also. Okay, done. So this is how creating user groups and users, and then roles. What I told you, these are the different roles that we have assigned to that user, and uh, here we can search all the roles here, and then here policies are there. See, these are the different policies. For example, suppose here if we wanted to see this read only access. Okay, this is the permission to AWS services and resources. So this we can see it in a JSON format also. This is how all the, this is nothing but a policy statement. Don't worry about them. We are not going to use all those. Just we are going to give some permissions and policies to the users based on our requirement only. Okay. And we can copy this user here, users. So this is how we can create users and creating groups and assigning these users to these groups, and also before that we can also give some roles. Okay. So due to some net, it is taking some time. Okay. Next, we will go to here. We'll see one of the EC2 admin group. For example, here this group is having these permissions. We'll add one more permission, EC2. Is that here? Add permission. Touch policies here. EC2. EC2 full access. Attach policies. Okay. So we have all these four kinds of policies. One is EC2 full access, RDS, S3 full access, and then Lambda full access. Okay. Now we'll move on to the next topic. This is a basic, way of creating that users, groups, and roles and policies, right? Then the next topic is that is AWS simple storage service, that is S3. This is the most important resource as our as a data engineer, all the data lake will be, uh, will be used this resource, that is S3. What is S3? Amazon Simple Storage Service is an object storage service that offers industry leading scalability, data availability, data security, and the performance. Okay, so this is storing all the objects, like it may be structured or unstructured or semi-structured data. This means customers of all sizes and industries can use it to store and protect any amount of data for a range of use cases such as data lakes, websites, mobile applications, backup and restore, archive, enterprise applications, IoT devices, and big data analytics. Okay, so these are the this is the resource which provides us to store the data in the form of, you know data lake or websites or mobile apps. Okay, and this S3, Amazon S3 provides easy to use management features, so we can organize our data and configure finely tuned access controls to meet our specific business, organizational, and compliance requirements. And this S3 is designed for 99.999, that is total nines here, that is totally 11 nines including this decimal part and this integer part, and as well as this including this is 11 nines of durability. That means our data will be available all the time and stores data for millions of applications for companies all around the world. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, and this is the uh, a small architecture of this S3, Amazon S3 object storage built to store and retrieve any amount of data from anywhere. It may be in a form of analytics data, log files, application data, videos and pictures, backup and archival. So all these are the different sources that we can access and get the data and store it in this S3 buckets. These are called the buckets. So here create bucket, specify the region, that means which region you belongs to and which region you are going to access, and access controls like the permissions and the management options, upload any amount of data. But as a free tier account, we have only limited capacity, like 5 GB of data or so. Okay, and then here this control access to data, optimize cost with storage classes, replicate data to any region, access from on-premise or VPC, okay, virtual private connectivity, and protect and secure our data, gain visibility into our storage. So these are the different advantages of these S3 buckets, and these can later can be accessed using AI tools or advanced analytics tools or machine learning tools. So majorly in our data engineering tasks that we are going to access this. Always we are going to access this S3 buckets. Okay, these are all the different features of S3. The files uploaded are stored buckets, and maximum file or object size that can be uploaded is 5 TB. This is the maximum capacity of the storage, 5 terabytes of data. New buckets can be created as per required. You can create number of buckets. And then security, multiple versions of an object can be created to reduce accidental loss, or users can define custom permission on who can read or modify the objects, like the buckets policies that just now we have discussed. So there are so many policies are there that that is provided the security. Okay, and then the life cycle policy, the user decides what will happen to the object after a fixed time. They can even define a policy for the same to self move them around different storage classes. Okay, then how much time you are going to keep, that also based on our requirement. Sometimes we can store or can keep the data for years of historical data also, but they'll be charging for every usage. The accessibility, easy division of files from any location around the world, and cost friendly, that is much cheaper than buying on SSD disks. As we are purchasing the on-prem or hardware devices, that is very no, cost friendly, that's cheaper than those hard disks. These are the features of S3. And then the objects available in the S3. Here, key, it is the unique identifier that identifies each object in a bucket. Key denotes the name of the object. It is the string that indicates a hierarchy of directories. Using the key, it is possible to retrieve objects in a bucket. That we will see in a practical way. These are the uh, it is a unique identifier, okay, that identifies each object in a bucket. That is a key that is representing that key. And the value, it is the actual content that needs to be stored. It is made up of a sequence of bytes. So this key value is providing, it's a pair kind of thing. And the metadata, it contains the metadata, means the data about data that are being stored. It denotes a set of name value pairs that stores data about an object, about an object. Like if you are taking one table from RDS or from other on-premise, if you want to extract the data from the on-premise database, so that table structure, the schema of that, like a table name and column names and the data types of that particular table, that is called the metadata. It does not contain the actual data, it is containing only the metadata, data about the data. The version ID, it is a system generated string that uniquely identifies a specific version of an object. Suppose we are creating objects that is maintaining internally that version IDs, version number 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, but it is not a sequence kind of thing that will be generated automatically by the AWS system. Access control list, it controls access to objects or files stored in S3 by granting the permissions. So there are different permissions to access these objects stored in the S3 buckets. Okay, that we have to provide before using them. And these are the different Amazon S3 storage classes. Based on their requirement, they can choose any one of these. Basically, but frequently used one is S3 standard. Okay, this is the most premium storage offered, and this is suitable for frequently accessed data workloads. Okay, and the duration, the durability of this one is 99.99% durable, no issues with data deletion. And it stores data in three availability zones. Okay, that is greater than or equal to three availability zones. Okay, and the cost per GB will be charged like 0.0210 per GB. So this is the cost. And the other kind of classes, storage classes in S3 are intelligent tiering, and then here infrequent access, that is IA, and then the standard IA, and then one zone IA. Basically, there are totally 6 types of classes, object storage classes. Okay, this S3 standard IA is suitable for storing where data is not frequently accessed, infrequently accessed data. infrequently accessed data. Okay, and the high durability will be there, and stores data in maximum of this greater than or equal to 3 availability zones. You know already, right? What is availability zone? Do you know that? Can you confirm once?
Yes.
AZs. Yeah, we have discussed in that global infrastructure of AWS, right? So those are the three or more. And here, this is a low storage price when compared to this one, and compared to the frequently accessed standard S3. Like that, we have, but here there is, um, when compared to that, bit high retrieval price, as data is retrieved rarely. So here, while we are accessing the data infrequently, the retrieval cost will be more. So there, we need to consider that item. Okay, and then S3 one zone IA. Before that, intelligent tiering is there, no intelligent tiering. So this is used data with changing access patterns, like workloads with changing required patterns. For example, a low request in one month are very high in another. So those are called the intelligent tiering, and this monitors the object access patterns and adjusts it accordingly. And it can be thought of as an AI wrapper around all those mentioned. This here, these are the different costs, and then monitoring fee per object here. This is the other additional cost will be applied. And then coming to this S3 one zone IA, this is again an infrequent access and lower storage cost than S3 IA. This is a lower, see when compared to this one here, 0.0125 here per GB, but here 0.0100 GB is a lesser than this one. Okay, and it stores data in a single AZ, single availability zone, that you need to remember. And this is a less durable as an object stored in a single location. Okay, and same here, it also charges a retrieval fee per GB, and this is the other type of class. And S3 glacier is used for archival data, that means using for long time data preservation. Okay, it is suitable for storing old files like customer records or project files, that is older versions. And it archives the objects to reduce storage space. Okay, and it is low storage cost. See here, 0.000040 per GB, and the object retrieval time from a few minutes to hours here. This is it is used based on that object size and the requests. Okay, and the other one is S3 Glacier Deep Archive. This is the sixth one, long-term archive data. This is suitable for longest time preservation of data, like access only one or two times an year per year, or lowest storage cost it is. Okay, this accessing takes up to maximum 12 hours. So these are the different classes of S3 storage. Then I've already discussed them. Okay, now let us the IAM roles with this S3. As I told you here, S3 can be accessed here. You need to remember this point here. This is easy to manage because the resources can be managed through a graphical user interface, CLI, or the API. That is three ways we can access this. This is also like IAM service. Here also this S3 Amazon S3 buckets can be accessed through these three ways, like GUI or CLI or APIs. Okay, this is highly durable data loss is much lesser. S3 provides object durability of this many 11 nines. Okay, and here coming to that roles, IAM roles with this S3, sometimes admin user don't want to allow access, that is excessive use of these resources, because the cost per this that is measured, right, for accessing. So that's why uh, those users will restrict some kind of capacity of the data access and then data storage. So and then these, in that case here, IAM roles are significant as it offers the flexibility to switch back and forth between different permissions. Okay, and then here this S3s can be, S3 buckets can be accessed for different tasks, like handling different tasks by different teams. Like some people can access only S3 and EC2 instances. Okay, and some people can access S3 and that the other kind of lambda along with that. So these IAM roles gives us the complete access of this S3 buckets. So now let us see one example of creating, how to create uh, S3 bucket. So here, as I told you, services are available here. Click on this here. Already here we have access this S3 here. This is storage, so scalable storage in the cloud, or you can dash directly here S3. You can directly type here S3 in the search. Here we can find the services S3, and also S3 Glacier is there, right? So click on this, and we can make it as a favorite by clicking on this and click on that. Here we have these buckets on the left hand side, access points, object lambda access points. So let us create one bucket here by using this create bucket. Here we can give that bucket name uh, to, and you can specify that the location where you wanted to keep these buckets, this storage location. That is, here we can choose this east one or the east two here, based on that location, the nearest location to you. So we can choose it. So as I'm keeping this here, it is in Mumbai. Suppose if you wanted to copy the settings of the existing bucket, you can choose that bucket. So here we have already one bucket, we can choose it. Or this is, this is optional. So it provides that unique identifier, that is the bucket name and the region, and then ownership, like object ownership. Here, these are the different allowed different accounts, like ACLs. This is disabled. So all appears in this bucket are owned by this account. Access to this bucket and its object is specifying using the only policies. Okay. Then you can select the default one. Is a recommended one. Block all public access. So by default it is enabled, or you can here you can enable each of these, depends on your requirement. So just I'm keeping that as it is. And then bucket versioning, it is disabled by default. And then you can enable it. Tags, these are only for uh, for uh, tracking storage cost purpose, just for the sake of searching purpose, you can use these tags. The default encryption is server-side encryption with S3 managed keys. Okay, then bucket key is enabled. Then create bucket. We have some more advanced settings, but we are not going to use them. You can just minimize it and then create bucket. Here, the same name already. So okay, it is this. Already we have the same name. You can do this my bucket to 3. Already exist. Unique within the global namespace. Okay. This is one. Do not give this test bucket. With the same name because it contains some wherever we find this already we use this bucket name, that's why it is not allowing us, so we can use some one you see. See the rules, naming. Bucket names must be between 3 minimum characters and maximum. These are the different rules for creating buckets. Bucket names can contain only lowercase numbers, dots, and bucket names must begin with and end with a letter. Okay. I'll give this test 1, test 0, 1. It is there. Why it is not providing this? Must not end with a dash. Okay. Dot. Okay. Same name already exists. Okay. So that's how this bucket name same. Let us see. Bucket names must be 3 minimum characters and maximum. Increase that security. Okay. Fine. Global namespace. Maybe it is a unique style kind of and small 1, 2, 3. Okay, give that some name here. Then here, these are the default settings. Then create bucket. Successfully created. This is the name of this bucket, and we can choose this bucket. And here, uh, okay, let's choose this bucket. And this bucket is already has one CSV file. So if you wanted to, for example, just now we have created one sans Marley bucket. So this here we can upload the objects. It may be any type of object, maybe an image or video file or CSV file or JSON file. I'll try to upload one file by clicking on that upload. Then here we don't have any folders here. We can also create folders. Just we are just adding the files. So I am going to add one uh, CSV file. So where is the CSV file? Yeah, some small CSV file. This is a 1 KB of data. Open it, and then here this is the destination location S3 colon slash slash sans mali 1 to 3, and these are the permissions we can apply here. This bucket has the bucket ownership force setting applied for the object ownership. Okay, we need not to worry about them. We'll just by default we have that. Upload it. So it is taking some time, and then upload it, and this is how you can see the file. So we can select that file. Here we can see all the that objects overview, like who is the owner and the region and last modified and how much size it occupied, and then the type of file, the key. This is the key, the name of the file, and the URL, and this is the ARN number. This is how we can access directly. We can copy it and we can access this within our APIs or in our CLIs. Okay, and if you directly click on this, this URL, so we don't have the permission to access denied is there. Okay, now permissions here. This is the permissions tab. Uh, we can use here. Actually, we have to assign one user for this. Now that we will see in the next session. Here we can download it directly from here. From here we can download directly. But through that URL, it is not possible. We need to have some permissions. Okay. So this is how we can create a bucket and upload files. And within this bucket, we can create a folder here. Like here, create folder. The folder name we can give some my folder one, and server side encryption. Specify an encryption key. So these are not by default. We're selecting it and create folder. And within that folder also we can upload some files here by selecting that folder and upload. So like our normal Windows directory hierarchy, folder hierarchy, we can have like same hierarchy here. Okay, this is the storage location, and then we can upload any image or some kind of add files. Some object we will upload some PDF file or some, where is some PDF file is not there. Yeah, here we have. Open this. So now it is uploaded here, right? So this is how here this is added to here, then upload this. Here it is uploaded. Succeeded status. So again, this is how we can use this S3 buckets, and then before that, we need to discuss about the complete data lake architecture and the role of this S3 and the components which are going to use for our data pipelines to make data lakes. Okay, that we will discuss in the next session. And before that, I wanted to confirm one thing from you. Shall we start basic Python or and including SQL